Konnichiwa, fellow travelers. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the incredible world of Japan, a country that's at the top of many bucket lists. Whether you're here for the sushi, the shrines, or the high-tech cities, there are some things you need to know before your first trip to Japan. From navigating the culture to making the most of your time, I've got 14 essential tips to help you have an unforgettable experience on your next trip to Japan. Thank you to Unbound Merino, the sponsor of today's video. Stylish, versatile apparel that's perfect for travel. More about them later. Let's get into the video. Tip number 1, learn some basic Japanese phrases. Arigato, thank you. Sumimasen, excuse me. Konnichiwa, hello. While you'll find English speakers in major cities, knowing a few key phrases will go a long way in making connections and showing respect. Even just a simple arigato or sumimasen can make your interactions smoother and more enjoyable. Plus, it shows that you're making an effort. And in my experience, that's one of the best ways to connect with locals. Tip number 2, cash is king. Unlike some countries where cards are accepted everywhere, Japan is still very much a cash-based society. Many places, especially in rural areas, don't take credit cards. So make sure you always have some yen on hand. My next tip is to pack light. Compared to Western countries, the United States, Europe, Japan's streets are narrow, the hotel rooms are small, and that's because Japanese people, generally speaking, are of smaller stature. So space is often limited, especially in major cities like Tokyo. Packing light is just generally a good idea. I've been traveling the world and creating content for over 12 years now. I always try to pack carry-on only and to keep a minimalist approach whenever I'm traveling. I'm a big believer in simplicity, utility, and style. When those three things come together, we have something special. Merino wool ticks all the boxes, and Unbound Merino makes some of the best merino apparel around, perfect for travel. You can pack just a few items of merino clothing, and these will last you through an entire trip. Merino wool is the best natural fabric around. It's lighter and softer than your traditional wool, but it has some incredible properties. It's naturally antibacterial and odor resistant, which means you can wear the same pieces of clothing for days, even weeks on end without smelling. It simultaneously breathes and insulates, which means if you get hot and you start to sweat, it will dry out quickly. But it also keeps you warm. And best of all is that it doesn't wrinkle, so you can just grab a couple of articles of clothing from Unbound Merino, throw them in your bag, and be ready to go for a multi-week trip. And I guarantee you that these pieces will become your core travel essentials. So experience the difference of natural merino wool and grab yourself some apparel from Unbound Merino today. You can use my code ALEX10 by clicking on the link in the description of this video and get 10% off your order. My next tip is that convenience stores are your best friend. When traveling in Japan, convenience stores, often open 24 hours, have pretty much everything you could need. Whether you're grabbing a quick meal, snacks for the road, or even household items, whether it's Lawson, Family Mart, or 7-Eleven, these convenience stores have you covered. The food is surprisingly good too. Try the onigiri, rice balls, or pre-packaged bento boxes. Perfect for when you're on the go. When traveling in Japan, perhaps the most budget-friendly meal is a bento box. Bento means convenient, and that is the perfect definition because it's extremely convenient. When you're traveling or if you're working in an office, a bento box is essentially a packed lunch full of delicious Japanese cuisine. That's really good. Teriyaki salmon. My next tip is to be mindful of noise. Japan is a country that values quiet and order, especially in public spaces like trains and buses. So keep your voice down and avoid talking on the phone when you're in transit. Remember to set your phone to silent mode too. It's all about respecting the local culture. Unless you grew up in Japan, chances are you're inevitably gonna do something that's gonna offend someone. The goal of this video is to help you minimize the chances of that happening, so you can absorb a little bit of Japanese wisdom and be a positive ambassador for your country. Tip number 6, take your shoes off indoors. Whenever you enter a home or a traditional ryokan, temple, make sure you take your shoes off. You'll usually be given a pair of slippers to wear while inside. It's a simple gesture, but an important one. So remember to follow suit and don't disrespect this tradition. My next tip is to try an onsen, or a Japanese bath. No trip to Japan is complete without experiencing an onsen, or a traditional Japanese hot spring bath. Japan is covered with thermal hot springs, and they have a long, strong tradition of soaking in those springs. There is some etiquette that you should be aware of. Make sure you clean yourself thoroughly before entering any spring. And remember that tattoos are still a bit taboo in Japan, so make sure you check in about that beforehand. And that's basically due to the fact that Japan has the traditional mafia there is covered in tattoos, and so they try to crack down on that. What are they called? Yakuza. Tip number 7, don't tip. In Japan, tipping is not required. In fact, it can be considered rude. Good service is standard, so there's no need to leave extra money. Instead, show your appreciation with your words. Say, "Gochiso-sama deshita," which means thank you for the meal. Tip 8, plan your train travel. Japan's train system is one of the best in the world. Efficient, clean, and fast. If you're planning to travel between cities, consider getting a Japan Rail Pass. It'll save you money and time because Japan is full of high-speed trains. And for traveling within a city using public transport, look into getting a Suica or Passmo card. It's a rechargeable card that works on trains, buses, even at some stores. This is the little Suica card. This is how you get around in Tokyo. You recharge it. It's kind of like an Oyster card in London or whatever. So just put it in there, I believe. Yes. International language, English, charge. Put 1,000 yen on there. Boom, that's like 10 bucks. This is the last day here, so there we go. Boom. We're all recharged. Let's go. Tip number 9, respect the local customs. Japan has a deep cultural heritage, and respecting local customs is key. Whether it's bowing when you greet someone, following proper shrine etiquette, or not pointing with chopsticks, small gestures go a long way. When visiting shrines, make sure to cleanse your hands at the entrance, bow before entering, and be mindful of where you step. Tip number 10, be punctual. Time is respected in Japan, so being punctual is very important. Trains and buses run like clockwork, so if it says 10:02 departure time, then it will be 10:02 departure time. Plan accordingly. Tip number 11, embrace the quirks. Japan is full of unique experiences. Cat cafes, robot restaurants, and capsule hotels. From vending machines that serve hot meals to toilets with more buttons than your remote control, Japan's quirks are part of its charm. Embrace the quirkiness and try something out of your comfort zone. Tip number 13, try local foods. Japanese cuisine is more than just sushi and ramen, though those are must-tries, of course. Apart from sushi, ramen is probably Japan's most famous export, but it actually originated over in China and made its way here in the mid-1800s. Pulled Chinese wheat noodle and flavorful broth. Now there's thousands of different restaurants that sell ramen in Tokyo, and each part of Japan does it slightly differently. But we recommend that you come to Ramen Nagi, famous for its flavorful fish broth made with 20 different types of seasonally available fish. It's cheap, it's cozy, and it's absolutely delicious. Don't leave without sampling local specialties like okonomiyaki in Osaka, hida beef in Takayama, or fresh seafood in Hokkaido. Street food is also a must. Whether it's takoyaki, yakitora, or taiyaki, these quick bites are delicious and give you a taste of the local flavor. Tip number 14, keep an open mind. Last but not least, keep an open mind. Japan is a country of contrasts, where ancient traditions blend seamlessly with futuristic technology. Embrace the differences and you'll come away with a deeper understanding and appreciation of this incredible culture. Remember, travel's all about experiencing new things, so let Japan surprise you in the best ways possible. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed and drop a comment down there in the comment section. I will see you all in the next video very soon. Bye. Arigato. Sayonara. Arigato. Goodbye.